Morning, folks. Now, being in peace with yourself doesn't mean that you walk around in an orange coat with a permanent smile on your face. There are some things that annoy me pretty hard. Many things. I made a list. It's long. Probably there'll be a part 2. Now let's start with an easy one. Restaurants, bars and cafes. You know, I'm always on the search for places that I can recommend or that I like to go a second time. And whenever I come to a place that I haven't been before, I order the most basic things possible. Because in my opinion, when people screw up the simplest things, I don't trust them with the more complicated things. For example, restaurants. Now, a colleague of mine recently recommended an Italian restaurant in the city. She said, "Oh, go there. Very nice food, very famous chef." I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And I don't know if you know, I've been to Italy multiple times and I know a little of Italian kitchen. And I went to this restaurant and I was reading the menu and I wanted to order spaghetti carbonara. Very simple, only 3 ingredients apart from the pasta. Means cheese, eggs, guanciale. Nothing more, not big of a spectacle. And I was reading the menu. It was spaghetti carbonara, cream sauce and ham. And the waiter came to pick up the order and I asked him, "What's that?" "That's not a carbonara." And he said, "Yeah, no, but our clients love it that way." I said, "Could be, but that's not carbonara. And obviously, I'm not your client." Now, in general, Italians are very racist when it's about their food. And when an Italian restaurant with an Italian chef, Italian staff sells carbonara with cream sauce and ham, they sold their souls to the devil. No go. Don't go there. Or in a bar. When I go to a bar the first time, I never order, let's say, sex on the beach with 12 Russian sailors. I order a caipirinha. Caipirinha, only 3 ingredients: lime, sugar, cachaça. If you're not able to make a proper caipirinha, how do you expect I would order a cocktail for 12 or 15 euros? And many people cannot make a proper caipirinha. It's a shame. On my favorite topic, a cafe. I admit I'm kind of a coffee nerd. I don't have fancy equipment for thousands of euros at home, but I know how to make a proper coffee, and I know how a good coffee has to be. Now, when I go to a new cafe, the same like restaurant or on the bar. I don't order a frappe laciato with caramel topping and cinnamon sprinkles. I order an espresso. And then I watch the barista, what he's doing. And you know, there's those, let's say, hipster cafes with a barista with a bun, check shirt, full beard, using a precision scale so that he can weigh exactly 17 grams for a double espresso. I have been in a bar where the barista was using a particle meter, hygrometer for the air humidity. What the heck? And the espresso was mediocre, best. So those fancy baristas, one even told me, I know what I'm doing, I have a professional barista training. The fuck you? You don't know anything, you don't know what you're doing. In my opinion, the more gadgets you use for making a good coffee, the more you are a loser. You know how to make a coffee by a handbook, by a checklist that you tick off, but you don't know what you're doing. Now, opposite example. You're in a cafe, let's say a young lady behind the bar, very few but confident actions, preparing the perfect espresso. You have my deepest respect. I love you. Will you marry me? Next topic. Oh, by the way, this is in no order at all. Neither logical nor chronological. Just random things. Now, I recently went to, how's it called, department store, and there was a lady in front of me who entered first, and yeah, she held the door a little longer so that I could pass. And then, what a mess. And then some meters into the store, she turned around and said, "You're welcome." I said, "What?" She said, "I held the door for you. You could say thank you." I said, "I know that you held the door for me. Well, why should I thank you? That should be self-evident. It's nothing particularly awesome that you did. You didn't sacrifice anything. It's not unusual." How? You know, usually I say thank you. In this case, I was in my thoughts, I didn't do it. So if you hold the door for someone and he doesn't say thank you, you could think maybe, oh, what an idiot. But turning around and demanding a thank you for your extraordinary action. What kind of human being are you? One thing that really pisses me off. Goodbye, monetization. Yeah, you can see on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, carpenters who build awesome tables made of wood and inlays made of resin. Tons of resin. You know, I don't get a plastic straw at the bar anymore. I'm complaining about plastic wrappings and biological vegetables. And they are producing dozens of kilograms of plastic waste with their awesome tables. And everybody, oh, this is so awesome, oh, I want to buy it, oh, this is such a piece of art. No, screw you. You're a disgrace for the environment. Now, since we're talking about the environment, when I tell people that I don't have a car, they look at me really puzzled. And when I say that I don't even have a driver's license, they look at me as if I'd be from outer space. Don't get me wrong, it's not because I'm eco-friendly or whatever, just I don't need it. I don't need a car. And the charming side effect is I can do things like that without even thinking, because I save a lot of money. Now, majority of people say I have a car because I need a car for whatever reason. Only few people admit I don't need a car, but I want it. A friend of mine, when I was living in Hamburg in the 90s, he bought a Ford Thunderbolt, fire red, imported from the US. Amazing car, hilarious gas consumption. When you are at his place and look into his fridge, there's only light and a pot of margarine. He said, I don't need this car. It's pretty useless. It's eating the hairs from my head, and probably one day it will kill me. But I love this car so much, and I don't care at all. Now, I can respect and accept this kind of attitude, like doing complete irrational thing just because it's fun and you want to do it. I love this attitude. But when you ask people why they need a car, most ridiculous reasons ever. Stuff like, I have a family, or I need it for going shopping. What do you think? That I don't go shopping? Or I live in a rural area and I have to go to work into the city. That might be a reason. What was first? You lived in a rural area and then had to buy a car? Or you had a car and because of that you could move to the rural area? It's a difference. I would like to live in a rural area, but I can't because I don't have a car. The best part is, yeah, but I drive an electric car. What do you think? Carbon neutral footprint? Everybody knows that electric cars are a disaster for the environment. Not only the production itself, and the mining and child labor and whatever. Also, when the battery is dying, a lot of waste, toxic waste. And what do you think the electricity comes from? Out of the wall? No. It's made of gas and coal. So driving an electric car, you don't do anything for the environment. Opposite. And apart from that, 90% of the energy you're using to carry around 2 tons of battery. If you think that's eco-friendly, you're an idiot. Now if you say, I know it makes no sense, but I love this car, it's fast as hell, and it accelerates like diarrhea after a Mexican dinner, I'm absolutely with you. Understand it, but try not to convince me that you're eco-friendly, because you're not. Your mother's eco-friendly. Already getting too long. So last topic for today, children. Or let's say no. I have nothing against children. In fact, I love children. But many times I have a problem with the parents. Nowadays, the young parents they wear their toddlers wrapped around their stomach like a badge of honor. Let me tell you one thing. It's not difficult to get pregnant. It's not difficult to get a kid. What's real challenge is to make this small person a decent human being. And that's where, in my opinion, many parents nowadays fail. I said what I said. Well, a little echoey here. Now, I'm a Gen Xer, and I grew up in the late 60s, 70s. And in my opinion, kids need boundaries. Kids need a direction. And if it's not the parents who give the direction, who will? At one point, you will set them free into real life. The young people end up in anxieties and psychological problems. It's a little simplified, I'm aware of that, but you get the point. Nowadays, my kid has to develop without boundaries, without limits. He has to discover the world on his own, free-minded. Sounds nice. And therefore, whenever there are parents with young kids, no matter if it's hotel, cafe, restaurant, airport, whatever, parents minding their own business and the kids are running around, screaming, having a good time. Yeah. Short background story. Some 20 years ago, the airport Cologne-Bonn got a second terminal. And yeah, second terminal with, automatic revolving doors. And shortly after reopening, there was a young couple with her little daughter, I don't know, something around 2 years old, just even capable of walking on her own. Parents were minding their own business. Daughter was running around, playing, having a good time, playing with the revolving door. And you know what happened? She got stuck. The revolving door didn't stop, dragged her in and smashed her small body, and she died a horrific death. Blood everywhere. Don't even want to picture that. What makes me angry is not the fact of a, misconstruction of the door. Simply due to the fact that this death of the small girl, the little girl, was absolutely avoidable if the parents would have had an eye on her. Now, some 4 or 5 years ago, I went from Cologne to Ancona in Italy. Small airport, only, I don't know, 10 flights a day, only 2 luggage belts, this small. And while waiting for my luggage in Ancona, there was a young German couple. I've already seen them in Cologne, with 2 small kids, don't know, 3 or 4 years. Parents were minding their own business, playing with a smartphone. Kids were running around through the entire area, jumping around, screaming, shouting, playing on the luggage belts. And I watched this scenery for about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. Then I went to the father and said, you know what happened 20 years ago in Cologne? If you don't, Google it. So, I don't mind if you don't care about the well-being of your children. If you don't care, I don't care. But if something happens and there's blood everywhere and ripped off limbs and people are fainting and I have to wait for my luggage another 4 or 5 hours, then it is my business. So please have an eye on your kids. I don't get it. Anyway, so much for today. I think there'll be a part 2, either tomorrow or in 2 days. And so far, stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned. How's the weather at home? Here it's 28 degrees. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.